Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we have another Pnso figure here to take a look at, and this is their new Pachyrhinosaurus. This is also part of an ongoing mystery as to why my figures that I've ordered from Pnso continue to show up in such a jumbled fashion, as the Pachyrhinosaurus and the Lambeosaurus, which were like the second and third figures I ordered, still haven't shown up. I don't know where they are, what they're doing, but this one was the second to last figure I've ordered, and it has shown up already. Again, it's just very confusing as to what is currently going on as far as the shipping process of the Pnso figures, but we at least have this figure to take a look at. This is definitely one I was really excited about, and you can see the box art here on the front displays a beautiful image of the Pachyrhinosaurus itself. And then if we take a look here at the top, yet another really nice looking image of the Pachyrhinosaurus. And then of course, once you flip it around, you have the same thing just in reverse, but we actually have the animal's name there. This time I should have probably had this side out first, but whatever. Regardless, I'm super psyched to take a look at yet another of these newer Pnso figures, as they have just been completely assaulting us with new figures. So let's go ahead and get this opened right now. So first of all, like always, we have the Pnso booklet that does come with your figure. Really nice image of the Pachyrhinosaurus itself right there. And then once you open it all up, you have wonderful images, wonderful information, all kinds of fun stuff in here on the Pachyrhinosaurus. Again, we're clearly not going to read all of this or anything like that. It's just kind of giving you a brief idea of what is included with this booklet, and then it's up to you, if you purchase the figure, to then read it. It's always very cool to have these booklets included, really showing, again, how much care and love goes into the Pnso product, but also it's just a fun read. It's something that'll give you something to do when you have a little bit of time to kill. And then there is our Pachyrhinosaurus itself, and I must say I am definitely quite impressed with it. I was actually a little bit afraid to see this figure in person, as the last Ceratopsian, well, I guess it's not the last one would have been the baby Sinoceratops, but the previously had a Spinops, and I thought it was pretty nice looking, but I wasn't a huge fan of the paint scheme on it, just because the paint scheme was nice, but the paint application wasn't really that great. It felt kind of flat to me. I mean, at the time I was pretty happy with it, but as time went on, I kind of grew a little sour on the paint scheme of the Spinops, and I was sort of afraid to see what this one would look like in person, but I can definitely say with complete confidence that the Pachyrhinosaurus looks beautiful here at first glance. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get a closer look at it right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of the Pachyrhinosaurus, look at that beautiful sculpt and detail included. So much movement being shown within the entire head and neck area, as well as some really nice skin texture, some beautiful scale detail on the Pachyrhinosaurus, and a lot of really nice color variation. You can just see a lot of different color variation here in the face, with nice browns, darker browns, lighter, almost tans. You've got reds, darker reds, as well as quite a beautiful appearance to the frill up here. Really, really like that. I love this very nice dark brown that kind of borders around the frill in certain spots, and then that lighter, almost a yellowish brown that is like primarily the body color, I would say. I guess it darkens quite a bit as we go up to the top, but it looks really nice up here on the frill, and those two, the darker and lighter yellowish brown there, they really play off of each other in just an absolutely gorgeous fashion, and you can see that the scale detail continues to look incredible up here on the frill as well. You can see that the horns up there on the top of the frill are really nicely sculpted and beautifully painted. They also appear to have a bit of a gloss coat to them, but I like how they start out with like a very dark gray and then transition very smoothly to a light gray out there. It looks super flashy, but very realistic, and the addition of that gloss coat on the horns, I think, makes them shine quite nicely and quite realistically. And you can see that same appearance to the horns right here on the top of the head, where it kind of transitions from that nice dark gray to that lighter gray out there at the tips. It looks super, super nice for sure. And you can also probably make out at this point that this figure includes something I am a huge fan of on dinosaur figures, and that is a really nice dark wash that brings all the detail out in fantastic fashion, and you can see that in every aspect of the figure. That dark wash has really paid off as far as creating a very realistic and lifelike appearance. You can see up here in the eye, the detail around the eye is beautiful, but you can also see that it has a really nicely painted eye with a bluish coloration and a black pupil, and it glosses and shines very realistically like it should. Again, I'm really impressed with just how much color variation we have in the head sculpt of this Pachyrhinosaurus. There is quite a bit going on as far as the different paint involved, and I really think it looks great. You have the nice beak sculpted out up here, as well as the nostrils sculpted out very nicely overall. So the head sculpt is gorgeous, and I love how they have this really nice reddish coloration in the face, but then the nice different variations of browns up there. I think the color and paint variation on this figure is picture perfect for the animal and really gives it, again, a flashy look, but in a very natural way. Coming back into the neck, you can see lots of creasing going on, and that is because the dinosaur has its head turned to the right, so it would really be creasing the skin up there in the neck, and I think that looks perfect the way that's sculpted out. You can also see some hanging skin down here in the throat a little bit. You can also really just generally get a sense of the throat of the Pachyrhinosaurus, but there's some more creasing going on right here as we lead into the chest. Coming back up here into the body, you see lots of osteoderms all over the body of the dinosaur. Some more creasing going on right there, as well as right here. As we lead down into that front leg, again, the skin detail looks really nice, just like right here. You can really see the way that the skin is reacting when it comes to the movement of that front leg and the leg picking up off the ground. It looks really cool. You have the elbow back there, and then a beautiful, very smooth transition to a nice dark brown down on the feet of the Pachyrhinosaurus. You can see that the nails are actually painted, and the foot sculpt looks beautiful, really nicely done. Coming back up here into the body, you can see it lightens up in the stomach region a little bit, but we also have quite a few different variations of like darker browns included, and as I had stated earlier, just generally the entire body darkens as we get up here to the top, and that is an insanely smooth transition between that yellowish brown and the darker brown up there on the top of the body. That is just the most smooth and naturalistic looking transition I think I may have ever seen on a dinosaur figure, so that looks great. You do have the hip bone right there a little bit, some nice musculature displayed in the thigh, and then moving down into the calf as well. The kneecap is present right there in the front. Moving down into the foot sculpt here on the rear foot, that also looks really nicely done overall. Coming back up here into the body, you have some more skin detail right here behind the thigh as we lead out into the tail. Again, lots more osteoderms, beautiful skin texture all over the dinosaur. And we have a striping effect that runs down the course of the back. Actually, the entire back you have some stripes, and then they also lead down here into the tail. And again, it looks really nice, and the transitions back and forth between colors again is super smooth. Really nice, very majestic looking curve here in the tail on the end of the Pachyrhinosaurus as well. I really actually quite like that curve in the tail. And then looking at the opposing side, again, you see a lot less wrinkling and creasing going on in the skin over here due to the Pachyrhinosaurus, again, having its head turned to the right so sharply. You can also see a beautiful appearance up here to the head sculpt of the Pachyrhinosaurus. Again, some beautiful paint as well, really nicely done. And then as we lead back here, you can continue to see how nice that dark wash really shows off the sculpt in every possible way. It just looks gorgeous. You have kind of like a scoot-like appearance that runs down the spine of the Pachyrhinosaurus. And again, lots more osteoderms picking up here and there. A lighter coloration here in the stomach region. And then we come down into this leg. You can see how the skin is stretching right there off of the body with this leg being kind of pulled back. And you can also see scrunching in the skin here in the stomach region due to both of these legs kind of squishing that skin. So as always, really nice attention to detail on the part of Pnso. And again, you can see some more nice creasing in the leg here. As we move down into the foot sculpt looks great. The transition between the lighter and darker browns again is super smooth. And then coming back up here, you can again pick up on the hip bone right here. Really nice muscle tone as we move down into this leg. Beautiful calf muscle. Again, that dark wash really bringing that detail out in ridiculously nice fashion. Very nice foot sculpt as well. And then we move back here into the tail. Some more creasing going on here. Again, showing off the movement of the body, but a really nice looking tail on the part of this Pachyrhinosaurus. Beautiful sculpt and detail in every aspect. You can even see what appears to be a cloaca down here, and the detail here on the underside looks great as well. I really like the skin texture here on the underside of the tail. Again, beautifully shown off with that nice wash. But then you can also see how the scale detail gets a little bit bigger and thicker as we move up here into the underside of the dinosaur up into the neck. But this Pachyrhinosaurus is gorgeous, absolutely beautiful, and again, it's really going to be a toss-up this year as far as which Pnso figure I like the most. Before, it was the Corythosaurus for sure, but this Pachyrhinosaurus is definitely a very close second, I will say that. As far as a size on the Pachyrhinosaurus goes, you were looking at roughly around like I'd say 5 3/4 inches, closing in on 6 inches. It's not perfectly measured because, again, the tail is a curve. It's curving away. The head's curving this way. So it's really hard to get an exact measurement, but I would say it's somewhere in that range. As far as a height goes, the highest point would be the frill, of course, and you're looking at just under 3 inches or about 7.5 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line next to our Pnso Pachyrhinosaurus, and you can definitely see next to these figures here that it's not the biggest ceratopsian figure you're going to find. It definitely isn't a very large figure in general, but honestly, I think it's a beautiful size for a Pachyrhinosaurus and an overall beautiful figure regardless of the size range. Really nicely sized, I will definitely say that. It's actually pretty similar in size, I think, to the Spinops. Unfortunately, I don't have that out currently. It's in storage, so I don't have it here to display with the Pachyrhinosaurus, but what I do have is the new 2020 Pnso Corythosaurus to put next to our 2020 Pachyrhinosaurus, and you can get a pretty good idea, I think, if you happen to already have the Corythosaurus, of what the size of the Pachyrhinosaurus here is. But if not, hopefully this will help give you a good idea of how the two measure up to each other in general and maybe help you decide on some future purchases. So this 2020 Pnso Pachyrhinosaurus is a fantastic addition to the new 2020 figures, the new 2020 line from Pnso. They are just absolutely blowing me away with each and every release. It's really been a very impressive year from Pnso, which is crazy because for the first 3/4 of the year, we had very little from them at all, aside from just a repaint of Wilson and then 2 baby dinosaurs. I think that was about all we had for pretty much the entire year until just recently when they bombarded us with a ton of figures and a lot of really nice looking figures. And this Pachyrhinosaurus is definitely one of my favorites, I think, that they've released this year. I love ceratopsians, so anytime I can get a new ceratopsian, it is definitely a great day, but especially Pachyrhinosaurus. And this is just such a really cool looking, more unique looking Pachyrhinosaurus. I feel like it looks a good bit different than most variations of Pachyrhinosaurus does, but overall, it is just gorgeous sculpt-wise. They have done an incredible job, not only in providing a really nice looking pose for the figure, it's a very nice natural looking pose, but also really giving you a ton of very fine detailing to the figure. I think that every ounce of detail that should be shown in the sculpt is 100% shown in brilliant fashion, and that's kind of a reoccurring trend with Pnso. They do a great job of really paying attention to the fine details of movement on the animal and just really giving you a ton of bang for your buck as far as sculpt and detail goes, and that is definitely holding true here with this Pachyrhinosaurus. The paint as well is a very pleasant surprise because, again, I had my concerns after the Spinops that maybe the paint wouldn't be that great because although the Spinops looked good, I feel like the paint could have been better. Maybe a dark wash or something on that figure would have really helped it. However, they've really stepped it up as far as the paint on this Pachyrhinosaurus. I feel like it looks extremely realistic, and I'm super happy that they gave it that nice dark wash. Really fills the entire figure out as far as looking realistic and bringing that detail out to you in beautiful fashion. That dark wash was just a great choice on the part of Pnso. But pretty much every ounce of color on the figure is really nicely done. The paint application is beautifully done. They have a very nice natural application of the paint. Again, the transitions between colors are all extremely smooth, and that dark wash really ties everything together. And I think that the actual paint scheme they went with is really nice as well. Very nice natural looking paint scheme for a ceratopsian, and that red up there on the face just again makes it look really flashy, but really natural. Everything on this figure, again, looks picture perfect. There's no sloppiness that I can see anywhere. So this is yet another fantastic 2020 release from Pnso, and I highly recommend anyone interested in just picking it up. So I will include a link in the description to where you can do just that on the Amazon Pnso store or on Dan's Dinosaurs. So make sure you head to the description, pick one of those 2 websites, and go buy yourself this really nice looking Pnso Pachyrhinosaurus. But before you do that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.